lesson, we solved some acronyms. We were able to expand some acronyms. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about ICT tools. At the end of this lesson, I expect you to know what ICT tools are and be able to state some examples of ICT tools. So let's take a look at what ICT tools are. So they are tools that are used for transmitting and receiving what? Information. So that's the definition for what? ICT tools. You send and you receive what? Information. That's the main purpose of what? Having an ICT what? Tool. So now let's take a look at the keywords inside. We have ICT tools. So transmitting. You can also say sending, transmitting or what? Sending. That's the first keyword. And receiving. Receiving of what? Information. Okay, so these are the keywords you need to note when you are defining ICT tools. You need to know that it helps you to transmit or send, and also it helps you to what? Receive information. Now, note one thing. ICT tools are not limited to only computers. That's one thing that you should take note of. Don't limit ICT to only what? Computers. So with this, let's take a look at some examples of ICT tools. We have television. Television is also an ICT what? Tool that is being used at homes. Let's look at the next one. Digital camera is also an ICT what? Tool. The next one is what? Radio. Radio is an ICT tool. We will look at the uses of these ICT tools in our subsequent lesson. So we have the computer. It's also an ICT what? Tool. So as I said, don't limit yourself to only computers when you are being asked to give examples of ICT tools. Then we have mobile phones. So they are also ICT what? Tools. They help you to what? Transmit or send and receive what? Information. So these are the ICT tools that we have. They are just some of them. At the beginning of the lesson, I said I expected you to be able to define ICT tools and also give some examples of them. And we said ICT tools, they are devices that helps you to transmit and what? Receive information. We also looked at some examples of ICT tools where we said you shouldn't limit yourself to computers. So some of the examples that we mentioned were we have the computer itself, radio, television, and many more. So in our next lesson, we'll be looking at the uses of ICT tools. See you in the next lesson.